What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Alpha Reality. Today, we are diving deep, and I mean deep, into a topic that most people get completely wrong. We're talking about female psychology and the most sensitive areas to touch. And let me just stop you right there. If you clicked this video thinking you're getting a cheap, simple top 10 list, you're in the wrong place. We're not doing that. We're going way beyond the obvious. We're talking about the neurology, the psychology, and the emotional connection that transforms a simple touch from just contact into a profound experience. The things we're going to cover today, they are a game changer, not just for your romantic life, but for understanding all your human connections. So lock in. The first thing we have to break down is a massive misconception. We're taught to think of sensitivity as just which body part has the most nerve endings. And sure, that's part of it, but it's barely 10% of the story. The real story isn't just in the skin, it's in the brain. See, the brain has a map of the entire body called the somatosensory cortex. But here's the crazy part. That map is not to scale. It's not proportional. Tiny areas, like the fingertips and the lips, take up a massive amount of real estate in the brain. Other huge areas, like your back, have a tiny spot. This is why a paper cut on your finger hurts more than a scratch on your back, and it's why a light touch on the hand can feel so significant. But even that isn't the whole story. The why is psychology. The most sensitive area on a woman's body is anywhere she feels safe, respected, and emotionally connected to the person touching her. Let me say that again. Context and psychology will beat physiology every single day of the week. A cold clinical touch in a supposedly sensitive area feels sterile, even creepy. But a simple, loving touch on the arm from someone she trusts, that can send electric signals through her entire body. That is what we're unpacking today. We're starting with the physical, but we're ending with the psychological. Let's get into level 1, the unspoken connectors. These are areas that are generally safe to touch in a social or early stage context, but which have an outsized psychological impact. First up, the hands and fingertips. This sounds basic, right? Wrong. The hands are one of the most nerve-dense parts of the entire human body. It's how we explore the world. It's why holding hands is such a universal symbol of connection. It's not just skin on skin, it's two nervous systems literally linking up. When you graduate from a simple handhold to lacing fingers or gently tracing a pattern on her palm, you are communicating on a level that words just can't touch. You are stimulating a massive portion of her brain's touch map and signaling safety, partnership, and presence. It's intimate without being threatening. Next, the forearm and inner wrist. This is a level up. The forearm is still a public area, but it's more personal than a shoulder. A light touch on the forearm to get her attention is standard. But the inner wrist, that's different. The skin there is thin, and the pulse is right underneath. Psychologically, this area is vulnerable. A gentle, respectful touch here, maybe to look at her watch or a bracelet, is a huge signal of trust. It's a step, a clear one, from friend to something more, because you are near a very vital, vulnerable part of her body. And this brings me to a crucial point. Guys, are you paying attention? Because this is where most people zone out and you're not going to. If you are getting any value from this breakdown at all, do me a solid and smash that like button right now. It literally takes 1 second and it tells the YouTube algorithm that we are delivering value. It helps the channel more than you know, so just click. Thanks. Okay, let's keep going. The next unspoken connector is the shoulders and upper back. This is the zone of support. Think about it. A hand on the shoulder says, I'm here, I've got you, or great job. It's a platonic safe zone. But here's the psychological key. A lingering touch here is different. A hand that rests on her shoulder for just a second longer than normal. A hand on her upper back to guide her through a crowd. These actions register as protective. In her primal brain, that registers as, this person is looking out for me. This person is a source of safety. And safety, my friends, is the absolute bedrock, the foundation for all deeper intimacy. Without safety, you have nothing. Now, let's move to level 2, the surprising responders. These are areas that aren't on the obvious lists, but which are incredibly sensitive due to both nerve density and psychological programming. And the first one is massive, the hair and scalp. Why does it feel so incredible when someone plays with your hair or gives you a head massage? Millions of years of social grooming. For primates and for us, grooming is not just about hygiene. It's about bonding. It's about trust. It's one of the deepest, most primal ways we show care. The scalp itself is loaded with nerve endings. A gentle touch here, running fingers through her hair, a light scratch at the base of her neck. This is a non-sexual touch that feels incredibly intimate and nurturing. It can literally lower her heart rate and release oxytocin, the cuddle hormone. This is a huge one. Next up, and this one requires absolute trust, the face. Think about that brain map again. The lips, cheeks, and forehead take up enormous space. But this isn't an area you just touch. You don't just reach out and touch someone's face. It's an earned privilege. A touch on the face is one of the most profound signals of affection. Gently brushing hair out of her eyes, cupping her cheek, tracing her jawline. These are actions reserved for deep, deep intimacy. Psychologically, it's an act of beholding, of seeing her specifically. It's a vulnerable spot, and allowing you to touch her there is a massive statement of trust. From the face, we go to another hidden gem, the ears. The ears, especially the lobes and the delicate shell, are packed with nerve endings. But they are almost never touched in a non-sexual context. This makes them incredibly responsive. A light touch on the earlobe. Even the warmth of your breath as you lean in to whisper something can create an intense physical reaction. Psychologically, it's a secret spot. It's a whisper, made physical. It's exclusive. And that leads us to maybe the most potent, surprising responder of all, the neck and nape. This is a critical junction. It's the bridge between the thinking brain and the feeling body. It's also one of the most vulnerable, unprotected parts of the human body. In our evolutionary past, a threat to the neck was a threat to life. So, allowing someone to touch you here, especially on the soft, exposed nape, is the ultimate act of physical trust. A light caress on the side of her neck, or a gentle touch on the nape. This is 100% in the intimate category. It's a clear, powerful signal of desire, and because it's so vulnerable, it creates a powerful physical and psychological response. It says, I trust you with my most vulnerable point. We're just getting started. We've covered the safe zones and the surprising zones, but we haven't even talked about the emotional core zones. We haven't talked about the single most important psychological key that unlocks all of this. And we definitely haven't talked about the one sensitive area that isn't a body part at all, but is more powerful than all of them combined. That is all coming in part 2. If you really want to understand this, and I mean truly level up your emotional intelligence, you are not going to want to miss a single second of what comes next. All right, welcome to part 2. And if you just skipped part 1, don't. Go back and watch it, because everything we're about to talk about builds on that foundation, that psychology is the key. The meaning of the touch, the trust behind it, is what makes it powerful. Now, we're moving into level 3, the emotional core zones. These are areas where the physical and emotional are completely intertwined. First up, the small of the back. This is a classic. Why? It's a guidance touch. When you place a hand on the small of her back to guide her through a room, you are physically and psychologically communicating, I'm with you, follow my lead, I'm protecting you. It's an act of partnership. Privately, it's even more powerful. The skin here is sensitive, and it's the direct pathway down to the hips. A hand resting on the small of her back while you're talking or while you're sitting together. It's a constant, steady signal of, I am here, I am connected to you. It's grounding. Next, a very interesting one, the stomach and sides. What happens when someone goes to touch your sides? You flinch, you laugh, you're ticklish. Why? It's not just funny. It's a defense mechanism. Your sides and stomach protect your vital organs. They are, by nature, highly guarded areas. So being ticklish is your brain's way of training you to protect those vulnerable spots. This means that allowing someone to touch you here in a non-tickling way, like a gentle caress or a hand resting on her stomach, requires an immense level of comfort and safety. It's playful, yes, but it's also a sign that her defenses are down for you. And this list would not be complete without the feet. This one surprises people. But think about it. The feet, like the hands, are loaded with nerve endings and have a huge spot on the brain's touch map. They bear our entire weight all day. A foot massage is not just a foot massage. It's an act of service and care. It's a nurturing gesture that says, let me take care of you. Let me relieve your stress. Psychologically, it's a sign of humility and devotion. You are literally grounding her. It's an incredibly powerful way to build a connection that is both physical and deeply emotional. Before we get to the final, most important point, let's talk about the grand unifying theory of all this. This is the one thing you must remember. It is context and consent. I've said it before, but it needs its own chapter. The exact same touch can be perceived in a million different ways. Who is doing the touching? A partner or a stranger? Where is it happening? In private or in a crowded professional setting? What is the intent? Is it for comfort, for romance, or for control? A woman's sensitivity to touch is a dynamic, living thing. It changes based on her mood, her stress level, and her relationship with you. Your job is not to memorize spots. Your job is to pay attention. This is where consent comes in. And I'm not just talking about not saying no. I'm talking about enthusiastic consent. When you touch her arm, does she lean in? Or does her body tense up even slightly? When you brush her hair back, does she close her eyes and relax? Or does she pull back? Her body language will tell you everything you need to know. The most sensitive area of all is her response. You have to be listening, not just with your ears, but with your eyes and your intuition. If this is hitting home for you, if you're understanding this on a deeper level, I need you to subscribe. Right now, we are building a community here based on this kind of deep dive, high level understanding. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell. You won't regret it. Okay. So, what is the most sensitive area on a woman? We've talked about the hands, the neck, the back, the feet. We've talked about the neuroscience. We've talked about the psychology of safety. But the real answer, the single most sensitive, most responsive, most powerful area, is her mind. You want to know the female psychology of touch? Here it is. The most sensitive area is being listened to. The most sensitive area is being remembered. The most sensitive area is being validated. When you listen to her, really listen, and then you reference something she told you weeks ago, you are touching her mind in a way that makes her feel seen and valued. When she's had a terrible day, and instead of trying to fix it, you just put your arm around her shoulder and say, "That sounds awful. I'm here." You are touching her emotionally in a way that builds indestructible trust. And when you do that, when you make her feel psychologically safe, seen, and cherished, suddenly, everywhere becomes a sensitive area. A simple touch on the hand becomes a lightning bolt. A hug becomes a true refuge. That is the secret. That's the hack, if you want to call it one. The physical touch is just the expression of the emotional connection you've already built. Focus on building that connection first. Listen, pay attention, be present. That is how you connect. That is the real-world tested, psychology-backed truth. This was a lot, I know, but it's important. This is the kind of stuff that actually changes your life. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for your time and for your attention. Drop a comment below with one thing you learned today or one surprising area we didn't cover. I read all of them. My name is Lily. This is the Alpha Reality. Stay curious, stay present, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.